Welcome everybody to the first Design Talk, a series of talks with designers powered by Materiali Casa and Surfaces International for TechnoNext platform, the first sector-specific social network created by ACIMAC and Italian Exhibition Group. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce you our speaker today. So welcome to Valentina Downey, the president of Emilia Romagna Delegation. Good morning, Valentina.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, Valentina, please, we would like to know more about you. Please do an overview of your work experience.
So, thank you for the floor, and I'll try to give you a brief introduction of myself so you can understand why I am here today and at this design talk. So I am a president of Emilia Romagna Delegation of ADI, ADI, that means Associazione per il Disegno Industriale, that means Italian Design Association, and I represent that association in the Emilia-Romagna territory county. And but my job is a strategic designer. I am a strategic designer. That means that creating a strategic plan of what to do, how to do, and when and why in terms of design inside of the company. And this job is about providing a communication plan, promotion, product, service, all elements where design express company values. And a strategic design plan allows the company to analyze issues experienced by the user. And our work tools are to design thinking workshop and training. And these two tools help to implement current product service process, but also to assist the company in a transition process that always accompany an innovation process. I also develop retail and communication design process in a pharmacies and hospitality sector. And in order to let you better understand what I do, I would like to highlight the training activities in both company and university. In companies, training activity is a tool for innovating and for carrying out projects. In university, training is my professor activities. And in this moment, I currently engage as a adjunct professor at the University of Ferrara for a master in innovation design supported by International Design Research Group and in institutions such as CERN, CIRN in Geneva with their IDEA Square project. I also taught retail and design innovation at the trade and shopper marketing course in a faculty of economics at University of Parma. And that's all.
Thank you to be part of us, Valentina. And let's start with this little interview because TechnoNext Design Talk wants to present an overview to current and future scenarios in the world of surface design. And in the next half an hour, we will present your point of view. So let's start with a general question. What do finishing materials represent in your design philosophy?
My retail design projects, of course, are made of design store, it's furniture, but also include in-store communication design to help shopping experience and also managing flow and also communicate product category. And to do so, I work in close collaboration with shopper marketing expert for retail format. So the project becomes a real shopping experience project. So regarding the choice of finished material, in my project is always guided by design of both the people flow inside the store and the design of the shopping and service experience in a retail system. In fact, the material help to define the heat map, the hot and the cold spot, to distinguish the areas, to direct the flow in some areas of the store, to focus attention on a certain product category, or to distinguish product category. And so material and finish are therefore an integral part of design process, and often by choosing finish and material, new inspiration are born, and some design choices are correct or implement sometimes.
And to do this type of work, which materials do you usually prefer?
I never prefer one material over another. Again, for the same reason, it is experience that I have to build in that environment. The communication I have to build that suggests the material to choose. Certainly within the pharmaceutical retail where I have been designed, I have chosen the materials suitable for that sector, for the functional performance, but always I avoid material that communicate in a aseptic or hospital environment. In fact, the project for a pharmacy, and I have worked always with the pharmacies that one or two owner, and not with the pharmacy chain. For that reason, I had to bring back the figure of the pharmacist to help one pharmacist stand out from another. We didn't want to create a shop where you only buy medicine, but a place where you get advice, get a consultants. So the material helped me to maintain, of course, the functional part, that's, I mean, that the default part that is always required inside of the pharmacy, so the perception of the cleanness and so on. But I have been choosing material and finish that express the particularity of that pharmacy. I have almost always chosen warm material precisely to restore the personality to environment that is often similar to another. So you never remind the pharmacy when you go in. So the color have been also far from the usual green, but I have chosen color that enhance the character of the people who has worked there, or where the pharmacy has located, so the place of the pharmacy.
Let's focus our attention on trend. What material trends are you currently experiencing? And according to your experience, we ask you to define with some highlights the current Italian material panorama.
Okay, well, let me start from the nowadays situation, the crisis we are experiencing. The pandemic has certainly changed the perception of many environments where we spend our time. We realize that many workplaces were not very comfortable for people, and how they use the space in the house was dictated by the choice that derives more from tradition than from our real needs. The environment are shelter to protect our life, and the environment have become increasingly important in a daily life, but sometimes become a threat. So to face and manage this uncertainty of the future, space should be flexible and able to adapt for quick change. So choices are no longer dictated by the thought that the choice will be for life, but we need flexible materials and solutions. And as I said before, surface are an important part of the project because they help us build this new experience, an experience of widespread living comfort, and not only from the visual part, but we have also considered the tactile design point of view. All the senses are involved. So material can restore that kind of atmosphere of well-being and calm. So soften features in colors, material, and how they absorb light is a very popular trend now. Because in certain moments, both from the point of view of planning the future or from the economic point of view, it awakens the instinct to build a shelter that restores physical and mental well-being. So all the feature has softened that can restore, that can return to us this physical and mental well-being are very welcome and probably very popular.
How does your research into materials come about? Where do you get your inspirations?
Design research is always one of the most important part of my work, but it never arises from the need to chase the trend, but to understand the content and the people who live within the space. This is why I think it's difficult for design sometimes to answer the question, what are the trends? So when we want to bring innovation into the company, it's important to know how to observe people needs and therefore anticipate the needs of the people. So market trend is an important element to frame the project. It's an important element as a starting point of the project, but not to create innovation. So the market return an important picture of consumer trend, but the ability to look at people behavior help us to anticipate needs and therefore to find a correct answer of the challenge of the innovation challenge. So one method I use in my research is divergent thinking. So I would say that there is no real field that I always investigate and from which I draw inspiration. Surely the great architectural project that innovates city, or the other field is contemporary art that experimental with materials or that experimental with sensory perception, and are areas that I observe and that are often part of my research. And the other sector is scenography in a ballet, in an opera, in a theater. But lately I find a source of inspiration, the scenography in a movie business. So some series have dedicated a lot of attention. Probably you already noticed that some series has dedicated a lot of attention to the world of the object and interiors. And this scenography project helped me to understand the relation that people have with certain decoration, colors, and finish. So many of these environments are inspired by an economic and social past that has been a dream that a Western society has always chased. And this is a very prosperous period for the Western society. So this texture, decors, color, and finish therefore become elements of well-being for people because they remind us this prosperity period. So I believe that the design research right approach is to speak about people needs rather than market trends. So designers are figures born to interpret the needs of the people within industrial process. So when design environments where the experiential part and the service part are a central element of the project, it ensures that the sensory and the perceptive part is a central element for the success of the project. So materials are one of the tools with which the sensory part is designed. In fact, when chooses finished material, they are chosen for their ancestral part, what remind us for the tactile sensation they return. For example, their acoustic performance, when a person steps on a surface, when the person enters on a space. So or for another example, how the material return natural and artificial light. But this is a very key factor because how the materials, this is the factor how materials return color to us.
Great. so interesting. But as you told before, we are living in a very particular moment, and in the last year, it hasn't been possible to travel or attend any events. How do the inputs that connect and produce new ideas come to life?
I think that conference training and also our design talk of today has been a very important tool in this period for sharing knowledge and for sharing project experience. And this tool have existed for many years and are tools that I have always used. But in this last year, the offer has risen significantly, and I also had more time thanks to reduce the traveling for work. So, and if you think of the advent, also the clubhouse, this new social, is also the sign how we can share knowledge and experience in a very agile way. So I therefore hope that we will plan future events there, integrate these new tools. So streaming, conference, some events, sharing knowledge, I strongly believe are enrich elements because it gave us the opportunity to enjoy freely and to be more productive. Surely there was few updating of the production from company. Although I have seen interesting promotion and presentation even on platforms such as LinkedIn and also with some private online event that start from the company. So I have also the opportunity of this kind of updating.
And I'd like to do also a little in-depth analysis about expectations, because thanks to the development of new production and decorative technologies, we are assisting to the rapid progress of a new generations of materials, increasingly high-tech and performing, often antibacterial, also equipped with the hyper-realistic and highly sensory surfaces effect. So considering this innovation, which of there or other that you know requirements do you consider essential to ensure that the materials constitute a real added value for the design project?
Yes, for sure. Innovation in the material world is a very important element. I believe that an extremely important element of design, because designing a surface with high performance or high-tech elements that give back the hyper-realistic or highly sensory environments can help to restore that type of experience that I was talking about before. The innovation of material and research can be pushed to the point involving surface and material in the new smart home. So the house will become a place to find service and to help us to solve everyday problems. And I believe that companies, partnership among materials company and smart home or high-tech companies will be a medium-term scenario of the future. I believe that the demand for service inside the home will always be greater. Or at least it is a research area to be investigated more and more carefully.
We need to talk about sustainability, the main topic, the topic that involving all life's aspects. And there is increasing awareness and debate on issues related to sustainability. And every day we hear talking about the short amount of time we had to solve several problems. In your experience, how sensitive is the world of architecture and design to this topic?
Design system for sure is very aware of the need of sustainability and has the culture and the will to offer to the community projects that have an increasing sustainable impact on our planet. So sustainability is therefore a central element of the project because our people are increasingly sensitive to these issues and society needs more efficient house from the energy point of view And as I said before, also from the point of view of the widespread and living comfort. So the problem is that in order to have a serious, a sustainable approach, both from the point of view of design or material design or the impact of the production of material, the entire supply chain must be considered, because we are closely linked to the world of construction, and the project should therefore really be approached as a supply chain project. It should be faced as an open innovation project between companies and professional and tech world.
Keep on talk about sustainability. How much does the choice of materials influence?
You mean you influence the project?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a very important element inside of the project, and if you have a chance to choose one material or another, and one material is a sustainable material, for sure the designer, the architecture, choose that kind of material. So it's a plus that you give to the market. And if the material also all linked in a system, or in an eco sustainability system, as I said before, probably have the second class that you can sell to the market. But I think it's a very important element that everybody, and especially company, has to develop for the market reason, but also because it's impossible to go on how we did before. So this is a very central element of the project, and I think that the medium scenario is the open innovation. So the company should work together to find the serious and the very serious sustainable approach to the issues.
In terms of influence, also social media influence new trends and the way to communicate them. The creation of real 3D influencer is taking hold on social media, and big brands are starting to give a nod to these people. Do you think that the aesthetic idealization of influencer changing trends cloud be a negative aspect that can flatten creativity or enrich it?
And then for sure enrich it. For sure enrich it creativity. Because surely communication has changed. So because tools and media have changed. So, and people are more demanding and informed consumer. So company has to communicate the product in a completely different way and compare the past. So the story is no longer just about the characteristic or the performance of the product. That information that can come second, but surely to choose in a jungle of information, people need a more articulate story that does not represent only the perfect environment. The vision of this environment must keep the promise that the company has made to the user, to the person. So influencers bring product to life inside their home and their daily life, restoring a narrative logic that is very different from the company one. So they allow people to see objects inside another dimension or inside another personal life. So I think this is a very useful tool for companies, not only for promoting products or values of the company, but is a very useful tool also to analyze the perception of their product by people, because they give us an opportunity to build a vision outside the company to inside the company. And this kind of vision always brings element to work and to improve on. So this is a very important information that this kind of sector give to the creativity sector and to the for innovation inside of the company, especially not only from the point of view, only from the communication point of view or the promotion point of view, but also from develop new product or the features of the product.
So Valentina, we are finished.
Thank you
for joining us. And but we have a question. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Our technical team are sending us a message that's from Atlas Concord, and we have a question. Do you think COVID has changed the way of design in the interior spaces?
Yes, I think it is. As I have already said, that the perception of the space now is different, because we feel the space or has a shelter or has a treat. So for that reason, the project of the space should be faced as an experience, and not only to design the organization of the space, but how people live inside of that kind of space. So materials, this is a very important part, because the material nowadays, most of all, are project from the visual part, but the important part is to project the entire living comfort. So when I'm speaking about the sound and or the perception of the tactile, it's very important. And when we project the material, we should project as an experience, not just as a product design. We have to change a little bit our perspective, our approach. This is, I think, it's very important part, especially now, because people needs all help to face that situation. And the interior spaces is very important, because sometimes we have our shelter, and sometimes we don't want to feel in that kind of the interior or the closest space a threat for us. So it's very important that communicate this well-being comfort.
And do you think that this new approach will continue also in the next year?
For sure. Yes, for sure. I am a support, I am a fan of this kind of approach, because it's spread in many fields of design, because people are not very linked on a product, but they feel the product has an experience, has by want to have a link. Okay.
So I don't know if everybody wants to do a question to Valentina. Please write it on the chat of the talk, just because I don't know, maybe there are something that you want to analyze with her. I don't know. We can wait a few seconds, Valentina, just to it could be interesting to interact with our plan. And in any case, Valentina, thank you for joining us today. So it's a great pleasure for me to talk with you in this first design talk.
Thank you for your invitation, and thank you, Anna, for your interview, and also to Atlas Engineer for the question. That is very interesting questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for watching us. I'd like to remind you that this is the first of a series of talk with designers. So please keep following TechnoNext platform and social media for all details, and see you at the next design talk.